Hello and welcome to another episode of The Tejano Traveler. I'm your host Wally, and today we are in Austin and I am going over my Austin top 10. That's top 10 things that you should do if you ever visit Austin, according to me. Now, in no particular order, we have the Texas Capitol, which is taller than the one in Washington, D.C. It's got a nice rotunda and it's chock full of history and artifacts and portraits and chambers where they make the laws. You can go up pretty high into the rotunda, but you can't really go all the way up. Outside, they have plenty of memorials and statues that you can look at, including my favorite one, which is about Tejano history. So make sure to go there and catch some history. Also, the corner of Lamar and 6th Street is a perfect place if you want to catch some of the old Austin, with its independent bookstore and where Whole Foods began. It also houses Waterloo Records and Amy's Ice Cream, so you get a little bit of everything that people love about Austin. You got music, food, literature, and dessert. Yum. I've always gotten Heath Bar and vanilla ice cream because I'm boring for 27 years now. There's also the Bat Cruise. The bats come back from Mexico every year and they hang out here underneath the bridge, and they come out at sundown and get to see millions of them drop into the sky and fly away. It's always a great sight to see, plus the tours offered give you probably the best views of the Austin skyline. You get to see them during the day and at night, and look at those bats go. Look at them flow out and hide amongst the trees as they're making their way out to feast on mosquitoes and such. But like I said, an awesome perk is the Austin skyline at night. Definitely worth it. One of the newest entries is the downtown library, is called one of the most beautiful places in Texas, not just because of the awesome books that they have there, but the architecture is amazing. These stairs are vertigo inducing and I hate taking them, so I take the elevator because I'm afraid of heights, but it's a pretty well designed library. Plus I got a quiet room where you can just sit and relax and fall asleep, but I don't have my CPAP machine, so I'd probably snore. And it's got all these outdoor patios that you can hang out at. Next up is the University of Texas, where there's plenty to do. There's their Ransom Center, where they have a copy of the Gutenberg Bible. You can also visit the Memorial Museum and see Mr. Smilodon, and the Stark Museum for Physical Culture, where they have a lot of bodybuilding stuff, which is one of my favorite things, even though I don't bodybuild. And the Hall of Fame, there where you get to see all the trophies that the UT athletics teams have won through the ages. Plus, the campus is filled with art and art installations that you can check out, so there's always something to see. And the LBJ Library, which is an awesome place to learn about our president during the 60s. Austin is also home to some awesome parks. I love the Bull Creek parks. I love being able to go outside and hike and be amongst nature and get sunburned and get all achy and nearly twist my ankle and all that, and get tired and get lost and fear for my life because I didn't bring enough water, but I still love doing it, even though all that happens to me. And Austin is the perfect place for that. Plus, we have the Bob Bullock State History Museum, where we get to learn a lot about Texas history, and we get to see the La Salle ship, which is called La Belle, which was discovered in Matagorda Bay in the 90s, and now it's on display. You can see all its artifacts and everything, but you also get to learn a lot about Texas history and all the things that have been involved in the creation of our great state. Right across the street is the Blanton Museum, where you get to see some awesome art. There's a lot of modern art to look at, which is some of my favorite art. They have rotating exhibits, so it's never the same thing that you see. So if you go several times a year, you get to see different things. And they also have a lot of European art, which is also pretty cool to look at. It's definitely worth a stop there. Then if you want to go outdoors, there's all this stuff to do at Silica Park. Seriously, you can spend the whole week just out here, and there's always something different to do, especially going to Blanton Springs, where the water is always super cold and super refreshing, especially on a hot summer day. I myself like snorkeling so I can look at the grasses, but there's also other things to look at while you're there at Silica Park, such as the old springs and a great view of downtown as you walk across the greens, and plenty of canoeing and kayaking on Botanical Springs. And then you can head over to the Umlauf Sculpture Garden and get to see some sculpture by Charles Umlauf and get to experience it in an outdoor setting. Plus, you can also go to the Botanical Gardens, which has a lot of koi fish and a lot of plants, and it's got a Japanese garden and an English garden and a prehistoric garden. So there's plenty of gardens to walk through. There's Austin Nature Center, where you can see some animals, some ponds, and it's got an aviary where they keep some injured animals so that they have a chance at life, not just die out there in the wilderness, or birdies. The Texas Wildflower Center in South Austin is also a great place to visit. They've done a lot to it. They've built a lot of things. It's best to visit in the spring when the wildflowers are out, and you get to see a lot of different types of wildflowers in a really unique Tuscan-looking setting. Plus, it's always great to be outdoors and seeing wildflowers, and there's a couple hiking trails that you can take. So, those are my top 10 things to do in Austin. Hopefully you agree, and you'll get to check them out. Let me know what you think, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you. Bye-bye.